Hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining me again here. We're going to take a look at a couple of very stark and contrasting visual images today from chapter 20 of the text. As we talked about in the last video, here in this particular section of the text, Jesus presents us with several images as metaphor. And we're going to take a look at a couple of them today. The contrast that we see here in A Course in Miracles is for our own teaching and learning purposes, so that we may choose every moment of every day between exactly two options. It appears in the world that there are many, many millions, billions of choices. There's only one choice, in truth, and there are only two options. And every moment of every day, whether we're aware of it or not, we're choosing. The choices are love or fear, God, the ego, the thought system of the Holy Spirit, our inner teacher or the ego, life or death, hmm. Oneness or separation, liberation or more of the same round of suffering, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the peace of God. Stuff like that. So the visual images that we're working with are a crown of thorns from the crucifixion and white lilies, pure white, beautiful lilies. The crown of thorns symbolizing death and the continued false and perceived sense of separation, and lilies, the gifts of true forgiveness of the Son of God, of the world, of every single thing. So, what we think matters. I mean, if you don't believe that what you think matters, please, I invite you to think again on that. It matters greatly. It matters greatly. That is why this course is a course in mind training. If that doesn't sound exciting to you, I get that. I mean, on the surface of it, okay, a course in mind training, so what? Somebody else is offering a beautiful, deluxe, sensual retreat in Costa Rica. Shouldn't I pay more attention to that? Well, it's your choice, isn't it? There's a lot out there in the world, and there's a lot of offerings in the spiritual marketplace. And it is, in fact, a marketplace, is it not? But you're here. One of the things that I hope you find very poignant, it's very interesting, it's very important here in the study and practice of A Course in Miracles, is the Course doesn't say anything about other traditions, religions, or modalities, or practices, or whatever people wish to call them today. It doesn't say anything about them. Here's what we can say is that there are many doors, which explains the multiplicity of spiritual paths and traditions that are out there. What we can say for sure is that all of them open onto the same place. They all lead to the same place in the end, God. Some may appear to take longer than others, right? Doesn't matter. They all lead to God in the end. Now, why would that be? Well, the answer is, like this course, extraordinarily simple. God is the only reality. Naturally, all doors lead to him. There is no place else. And of course, here in the world, we spend a lot of time focusing on this, on the physical body. And we're invited to consider how much time, if not how much money, and it's a lot, of course, over the course of our lifetimes, that we spend adorning this device, this mere communication device. We spend a lot of time and sonic space and mental space and psychic energy and all of the stuff that we fret and worry about, right? We spend all of this adorning the physical body, clothing it, making it look as hot as we can, yeah, protecting it with a roof over our head. Not that any of that's bad, it's just where we happen to find ourselves. And we spend almost all our time on this. Come to realize this is a complete illusion. This is nothing. This is why I'm fond of repeating so that it sticks that this is a pixelated image on your screen. It's a complete illusion. It appears to be a middle-aged man. Sure, it does. That's what it looks like. It's a form that we're used to seeing. That's all. When something connects for you, it's the Holy Spirit. Always. You may count on that. This is simply a delivery mechanism constellated in an assemblage of electronic dots that looks like a dude from Arizona. I mean, you can't get any more basic and ordinary than that. There's never anything special about the messenger at all. It's the content of the message which comes from the Holy Spirit that matters the most. That's what matters. So we spend so much time, so much of our lives fretting and worrying about and adorning this device in an effort to attract people, in an effort to look good so that people may take a look at us in every arena of life so that we may appear cool, we may appear intelligent, beautiful, stuff like that. So we're invited to take a closer look here. When you offer your brother the physical body, what you're offering him is a crown of thorns. Oh, yeah. In other words, heaping decay, death, and suffering. Hmm. Why would that be? This is an illusion. Again, nothing. Doesn't mean don't take care of it here in the world. Doesn't mean if you like to go to the gym or do yoga, do that. Because we have work to do while we appear to be here. And if having a fit communication mechanism will help you to reach the people that you're meant to reach in this lifetime, then do that. We can live a completely normal looking life without believing in the reality of any of it and still function at a very high level without believing in the reality of any of it. Mind training is what we need in order to do that. And when we do that, it may seem paradoxical, it may seem weird, but you don't see things the same way. We place all of our attention on the body, but it's mind that really matters. Only the mind can value. The body does what the mind tells it to do. It may seem to have a life of its own, it does not. So that's why this course focuses on the mind, the cause. The body is an effect. So we run into an idea that runs throughout A Course in Miracles. And in fact, it's one of the Course's central teachings. And that is the idea that to give and to receive are one in truth. They're the same. We see this stated in that way and in many, many different ways. Because the value that you place on your brother, the value that you place on yourself, same, there's no separation of any kind, is based on what you give. The value that you lay upon your brother is based on what you offer him, her, them, all of them. So it goes for yourself. The value that you place upon yourself is based directly on what you offer your brother. Do you offer him a crown of thorns, or do you offer him lilies of forgiveness? Do you forgive the Son of God, or do you condemn and blame him, i.e., yourself? That's the question here in chapter 20, section 2 specifically of the text, which is actually entitled The Gift of Lilies. That's the question we're invited to consider and consider strongly. And the contrast between white lilies and a crown of thorns is drawn deliberately for our learning purposes, so that we may actually think about this and put true forgiveness into practice, because that is what we do. That is the practical centerpiece of A Course in Miracles, is the practice of true forgiveness. So we're either offering our brother the same old, i.e., death, decay, and suffering, or we're offering him freedom, peace, liberation. Which is it? Because what you offer him, you are offering yourself. Something else that's inescapable, deny it as much as you wanna. I mean, and you're free to do that, of course. Nobody is going to stop you until you stop yourself. Uh, yeah. What you offer your brother, you offer yourself. So which is it? This is an invitation to all of us to forgive, forgive, forgive. Offer the peace of God to your brother. That is what you offer yourself. Forgive your brother, you forgive yourself. And by true forgiveness, we mean overlooking the apparent separation. Remember, it's nothing. And we look to what's beyond the appearance, the truth of perfect oneness. There is no separation of any kind. So it naturally, quite simply and naturally follows that as you see your brother, you forgive. If you forgive, okay, as you see your brother, I hope you forgive. As you see him, you see yourself. So if you're forgiving yourself. If you're blaming and condemning and casting dispersion, judgment on him, you're judging yourself. This is inescapable. And we may, again, want to deny that. And we all have a lot because this conversation's even happening, apparently. We wouldn't need it if we hadn't done this habitually and repeatedly, time and again. So we run into some, well, we would call them in the world cold, hard facts, truth, which is why spirituality is an adult endeavor. It's for grown-ups because we have to take a look at all of our stuff. And along the way, we have moments where it just doesn't feel good. We don't want to do it. It's not convenient. We'd rather hang on to our habitual pattern of blame and condemnation because we're used to it. But think about the effects and the impact of that. I mean, we only think that we're blaming somebody else or calling somebody else an expletive, calling them a name or judging them. We're judging ourselves. As you see your brother, you see yourself. That cannot be escaped. So see him as the Son of God. So you see yourself. It requires lots of repetition. I mean, it's been said, and rightly so, about A Course in Miracles, that it repeats the same, I don't know, 6, 7 ideas over and over and over again for well over 1,000 pages. Yeah, why would that be? We need to hear them because we need, as adult learners, repetition. We also need to see the same idea in multiple different ways because it could be today, and I hope it is for you always. I hope it's right now that something just clicks for you and this proverbial light goes on. We don't really know when that's going to happen, so we continue to show up every moment of every day. And when we remember to do so, we forgive the Son of God. Forgive the Son of God. That's the way of it. Do it often enough, you won't see things the same way ever again. And that's the point. So I invite you to join me. And I thank you for tuning in. If you have not subscribed, that's the prompt here. Click that icon. You'll be invited to join us. Several videos appear each week, and I'm more than happy to take a pause out of the procession here through the text of A Course in Miracles to do a standalone video or two or three or however many we need based on your questions. So I'm interested, very interested in what's coming up for you live. I'm here to serve as a guide for you, and questions are always more than welcome. Okay? So please ask them if you have them, and I will speak to all of you very soon.